Chapter 1. Tyler. $1 million. That's what I could make tonight if the party keeps up like this. I still couldn't believe I'd pulled it off. Weeks of planning, tens of thousands in cost, and untold laws broken, all to host a private high-stakes gambling night on board an abandoned freight ship that sat decaying in the old port. It was the absolute last place anyone would think to look for an ultra-exclusive party for the city's elite, which is why it was perfect. A raucous cheer erupted from the crowd. Everyone wore masks to protect their anonymity, including the staff, but as the master of ceremonies, I knew who they were. I turned to see a blonde woman in a scarlet ball gown jump in celebration. She must have hit it big, which was good for both her and me. As the bookie hosting this little soiree, my take-home was 10% of all winnings. And while, yes, $1 million might seem like a lot of cash, after all the bribes and payouts, I'd be lucky to even add a third of it, most of which would get reinvested into my next game night. But it was worth it. The real money was in interest anyway. If any of our players ran out of funds, we, the house, helpfully supplied them with the means to keep playing. For a fee, of course. It was small enough to be appealing, a fisherman's hook to ensnare the unsuspecting. Only after people took the bait did they realize how much that fee stacked up if they didn't pay us back on time. My gaze swept over the rest of the room, a cavernous chamber that was formerly a cargo bay. Now, over 24 tables filled the space, some draped in white linens holding platters of gourmet dishes, others surrounded by gamblers in designer dresses and suits. A bar was set up along the far wall, and waitstaff made their way to and from it, delivering top-shelf cocktails to the crowd. Soft light filtered down from chandeliers, glinting off jewels and champagne flutes in a way that lent a dreamlike quality to the scene. I sighed, thinking of the war of one-upmanship I was fighting with myself. Tonight was a triumph, a party to end all parties. But next time I'd have to come up with something even better, even more unexpected and exciting. My parties had to remain the most elusive and sought-after entertainment in this city. The wealthy, I'd learned, were a lot like spoiled children, easily distracted by the latest shiny object, and it took a lot to keep them clamoring for a spot at my tables. And to think, all this started in my college dorm room. I'd been a broke-as-shit double major in finance and business, looking to make some tuition money on the side so I wouldn't have to drop out. I'd always been good with numbers and pattern recognition, so cards were easy for me. My brain inherently knew which ones were left in a deck without having to consciously count them. At first, my poker nights were small, just me and whoever I convinced to play. Most didn't stick around after repeatedly losing to me, and I thought I'd been cooked because of it. My money-making scheme over before it even began. But then, rumors started circulating that I was unbeatable, and soon every wannabe poker pro and math genius was clamoring to get in on the games, making me enough cash to stave off financial panic. A class about entrepreneurship planted the seed that there might be more stable money behind the table running the games like a business. I opened it up to all levels of gamblers, from experienced players to rookies trying their luck for the first time. Then, two things happened at once. People at school found out that my best friend Josh was the son of a notorious serial killer, and the faculty caught wind of my games. So, we moved to the city to start over. I transferred schools, but Josh dropped out to become a professional hacker because he was a better programmer than any of his professors, and there was nothing left for them to teach him. I left the games behind, finished out my senior year, and went into corporate finance after graduation. But it only took me a year to realize I hated it. Hated dressing up in a suit to go work with a bunch of shitheads who treated the Wolf of Wall Street like an instruction manual. Hated my entry-level salary that barely covered cost of living because I knew there were better and easier ways to make money. Also, it was boring as shit, unchallenging, and my boss was a fucking idiot, landing his role via nepotism, not merit, another reminder of why I'd always hated the rich. Quitting let me get back to my old ways. I started another poker night, building it back up from scratch. This time around, I let myself think bigger. I wasn't just in it to make money. I had an objective. Revenge. A target to pursue. Every game advanced my agenda, but tonight in particular was a massive move forward in bringing me one step closer to him. Another cheer sounded from a nearby blackjack game. This time, it was an art dealer who'd won. To his left, a hedge fund manager looked on with envy. To his right, a crime boss gave him a congratulatory slap on the back.